The photo op at the border wall was infuriating. She went for 20 minutes and then she came out trying to act like this is a top priority for her. The Border Patrol guys were promptly out there ripping on her. I saw them on Fox News saying these two guys that she met with were management, and even they were probably embarrassed that they had to be pulled into this, but they couldn't exactly say no to the sitting vice president of the United States. She goes looking at the border wall like she has a real interest in it. This border wall that she called a stupid use of money, saying, quote, "I will block any funding for it." In 2017, she called the wall Trump's medieval vanity project. She said the border wall in 2020, she said, is a complete waste of money, won't make us any safer. And there she is looking at it like she admires its strength and its capabilities in keeping illegals out of the country. This is the same woman who was quick to jump on the bandwagon to accuse the Border Patrol agents falsely of whipping the Haitian migrants, something for which she's never apologized. Mayorkas peddled that lie, knowing it was a lie. He was told it was a lie before he peddled it. He pushed it anyway. But worse than any of that, they're the reason we have all these immigrants in the country right now. Tens of millions of illegals and over 1 million so-called legal in places like Springfield, etc. And she really wants us to believe we should trust her to enforce the border.
Yeah, her problem is that in the last 10 years, and even especially as vice president, she's commented on every aspect of illegal immigration. She said that you should not deport anybody. She was like a teenager out at a rally in Los Angeles. No deportations, no deportations. She's talked about catch and release, that you've got to bring it back. She said that illegals, crossing illegally in the country is not a criminal statute, a violation of a criminal statute. She's talked about the 600 sanctuary cities. She's compared the Border Patrol to the Ku Klux Klan in that case of the so-called whipping. So the wall, everything, she's on record. So everybody knows that she's not sincere. And on November 6th, the day after the election, if she loses and she's got 3 more months as a lame duck vice president, she will revert right back to where she was 90 days ago. And that is, she's an open borders person. And if she wins, and she'll think she has a 4-year tenure, she'll revert right back to where she was, because this wasn't an accident. I mean, it's very hard to let in 10 to 12 million people. We have more people percentage-wise, 16% now, than any time in American history. 60 million people were not born in the United States. And so that's hard to do. And it just prompts the question, why did they do it? And I think the answer is obvious, that under the new 2020 rules of voting, when we went from 70% in most states voting on election day to 30%, it was very hard to authenticate the genuine nature of ballots. And they felt the more people you can bring in, they're going to filter into the system. Some are going to vote. If they don't, there's still a constituency that needs massive subsidies in health, education, housing, food, and they're going to reward us for generations at the polls for being the party that welcomed them in and grew government, raised taxes, and created more of the welfare state. And that's what it's all about. It was all deliberate. They're incompetent, I understand that, but everybody says they're incompetent. They can't do it. They did this intentionally, and they're going to continue to do it intentionally.
That's the thing, because now there's this huge push by the Biden administration to legalize all of these illegals in the country and fast track them to getting ID and being able to vote. And, with between 10 and 20 million of them in the country now, thanks to this administration, who knows what percentage of them actually will get fast tracked. It does seem, like many have been saying all along, like a total election ploy. Like the whole thing is just an election ploy to make the United States a permanent state of California forevermore, where you can never have a Republican win statewide again or countrywide again.
Well, Megyn, I'm in California, and I'm on ground zero of all this in Fresno County in the middle of the state. When I used to fly into Fresno Air Terminal after 11, and I get delayed a lot, there was nobody in there, obviously a regional airport. When I go in there now, if I come in at 1 o'clock or 12 on a late flight, it's the most busy period of the entire 24-hour cycle. There's hundreds of people in the airport, and we have nonstop flights from 3 Mexico cities, and of all places, Fresno, and they're booked solid. And there's hundreds of people flying in every night, and we don't have a passport control in Fresno, customs office. So I guess that they're either being cleared in Mexico or they're regularly scheduled flights or it's something, but we've never had that before. And so now people, the busiest time is 2, 3, and 4 in the morning when we're just a direct conduit from Mexico. And that's true of a lot of California and other places in the United States. And no one talks about it. But again, it gets back to the idea they have no confidence in their agenda. Every issue does not poll 51%. So their attitude is, well, we either have to go into these 90-day campaign cycles where we deny everything that we're doing. And most of these Senate races, the Democratic candidate is doing exactly what Kamala Harris is. They're not talking about their record. They're moving from hard left to center, in some cases center right, because the people don't want their agenda. So they either have to fake it during election cycles with the help from the media to cover for them, or they have to get constituencies, both long-term and short-term. Everybody knows what they're doing, and then what you just said or what I just said, they have a deterrent effort that would be called racist or nativist or xenophobic, and so people don't speak up about it because you take a big hit when you do.
That's right. They've been saying this about Tucker, about many people for a long time. The great replacement theory. Oh, that's what he's pushing, this racist thing called. Tucker was quoting the left on their stated plans of bringing in all these immigrants to take over the voting rolls.
John Judas and Roy Texera wrote a book called The New Democratic Majority. It was a triumphalist book. And you look at article after article, they take that common phrase, demography is destiny. That is a left-wing slogan, that we are bringing people in who are going to bring vigor and youth and vitality to this old sort of ossified, calcified European American has-been spent population. That's what they talk about all the time. I hear it all the time in California, and they're open about it. So when Tucker started to address that, they said, well, you're part of the Great Replacement theory. But the Great Replacement theory was their theory. And they had terms for it. They didn't use replacement. They were a little bit clever. They called it demography is destiny, or new Democratic majority. We flipped California from the Reagan, Deukmejian, Pete Wilson, Schwarzenegger era. No more 32 years of awful Republicans. It's blue forever. Colorado's blue forever. New Mexico is now blue forever. We're going to flip Nevada. It's purple. It's almost blue. Same thing. We're looking at Arizona and Texas. The only irony about their whole project is there's a lot of Mexican American, especially males over 40, that have had it with them because they're impacted, and a lot of communities are. And if the Hispanic or the Mexican American vote gets up to 45% or even higher, they'll close the border. And they're doing that with Cubans already, as you know. If you're Cuban and you came here illegally, then you're treated a little different than a Venezuelan or a Mexican national.
Absolutely.
Because
they know exactly what will happen. But meanwhile, Victor, that we do know something about the people who are in this country, and we know that a very disturbingly high percentage of them are criminals already, are violent criminals in their country. Now, a couple of things about this report that hit from ICE. What happened was U.S. Representative Tony Gonzalez, a Republican, asked the Department of Homeland Security, of course, that's Mayorkas's department, for data on migrants who have criminal backgrounds. And finally, he got back a response from the ICE deputy director named Patrick Lechleitner. And that response from ICE was jaw-dropping and made the rounds over the past few days in a way that really was alarming to many people, reporting that there were 62,566, in other words, 662,566 non-citizens with criminal histories on the agency's non-detained docket. Of those, 435,000 are convicted criminals. 13,000 have been convicted of homicide, almost 16,000 convicted of sexual assault. Another 226,000 have pending, current criminal charges against them. 1,800 plus have pending homicide charges. 4,200 plus have pending sexual assault charges. Like Leitner, the guy from ICE, blamed some of these releases, because these people are all at large. They're at large, most of these, on sanctuary cities where they were nabbed, but ICE placed a detainer on them, saying to the local cops, don't release them. Oh, great, they got pulled over. They got, accused of sexual assault. We want them to deport them. And cities like San Francisco or entire states are sanctuary, like Massachusetts, say, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to detain them. We're letting them go.
Yeah.
So, but then there was a follow-up over the weekend where DHS, Mayorkas's politicized group, which oversees ICE, comes in and says the data is being misrepresented. The data goes back decades. It includes individuals who entered the country over the past 40 years or more. It also includes many, I don't know what that means, 4, 5, how many, who are under the jurisdiction or currently incarcerated by the Fed, state, or local law enforcement partners. That noticeably do not put any numbers on these because they don't want us to know what percentage came in under Harris Biden.
And that's the key. If they really feel that that figure does include people that are incarcerated, it's much easier to get the data on the people that are in custody than people that are not in custody. So all they had to do was release and say there were 12,000 convicted murders, but don't worry, we have data that shows that they're in federal or state prison, and they're half of them. And even if that were not true, why, if they knew these people were here and they had 4 years, does it really matter what administration they came under? Why wouldn't they go after them and deport them? And they know that. And the thing is, they're all insulated out here. In Los Angeles County and Fresno County, there have been reports over the last 10 years that almost half of all traffic accidents, the perpetrator who caused the accident leaves the scene. And I live out in the country. I've had 4 people in the last 15 years leave the scene of the intoxicated, leave the road, plow into an orchard, tear out trees, vineyard, and leave the scene of the accident. And then when you try to take a tractor and pull the car over, the highway patrolman says you cannot do that. We have to impound that. So, and no compensation, no nothing, and no law enforcement. And everybody knows that.
Imagine waking up one day to find out your home no longer belongs to you, that someone somewhere has stolen your property right out from under you. It sounds unthinkable, but it is a sad reality for some American homeowners and a risk for anyone that owns property. House stealing, that's what the FBI calls it. And it's a form of real estate fraud, where scammers leverage loopholes in the system to fraudulently transfer your home's title into their name. And then they take out loans against your property or even sell it behind your back. By the time you find out, the scammer's long gone, leaving you, the legitimate homeowner, to clean up the mess. But right now, triple lock protection is available through HomeTitleLock.com, offering 24/7 title monitoring, alerts, and restoration services. You can sign up today at HomeTitleLock.com and use the promo code Megyn for 30 days of protection for free and a comprehensive title scan to make sure you're not already a victim. That's promo code Megyn and HomeTitleLock.com, or just use the link below. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.